Thanks a lot, Jose. I think I have some slides, but I'll just slowly get started, so maybe I can cheat a little bit and get some extra seconds. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity once again. I think it's my third consecutive year after 3 years in Bangalore. It's growing in size, so congratulations to the team behind this very important summit. I could talk to length in continuation of my colleague Ewout from the Dutch to the Danes about areas that are more or less the same but different. But I will leave you with a focus on how Denmark is India's preferred partner when it comes to green transition, something that we are very proud of. If you take the next slides and just go through them like with 1 minute intervals, then I'll try to keep a pace accordingly. So basically in 2020, our Prime Ministers Modi and Mette Frederiksen entered a so-called Green Strategic Partnership. And that has really been a political framework that has paved the way for a lot of collaboration across industry, academia, and government-to-government relations. You can take the next slide already now. With this framework, we have many areas of collaboration, but I would say that the core pillar is energy transition, and that cuts across RE, biogas, biofuels, energy efficiency, and what have you. One slide back, please. An important part of our relationship and our collaboration is the Indo-Danish Energy Partnership, and that's where the regulatory bodies of our two countries collaborate very closely. Basically, we have 3 full-time advisors from the Danish Energy Agency working within relevant ministries in Delhi, full-time together with the Indian colleagues on everything from how to prepare offshore wind tenders to how to make long-term energy planning and outlooks in terms of how does India's energy mix looks, how can India's energy mix look like in 2050 and 2070 and beyond, and at a day-to-day level basically work alongside their colleagues to help prepare the future, and which also basically helps improve the investment conditions. That's the policy and the regulatory level. And then there's a lot of talk, like people like me, like Ewout, like my other colleagues here, and politicians basically throughout the world. And what we're here for is also to bring it down to an implementation and an action level. So that's where the businesses and the academia comes in. And we are running basically right now 2 strategic business alliances that consist of Danish companies and Danish industry associations, as well as Indian partners, universities, alliances, industry associations, and the like. And one is focusing on the wind sector, and one is focusing on the green fuels sector. Green fuels includes, of course, everything from basically RE to green hydrogen to the derivatives. Denmark is the proud nation of Maersk, and hence for us, when we talk about Power to X and offtake, we most often also focus on green methanol, an area that right now deserves a little bit more focus in India than it has, and that's something that we're working on proactively throughout this alliance. Our wind alliance is right now basically mostly focusing on onshore, because that's where the growth is in India. It's basically, I don't know if you know, but the 4th largest installed wind capacity onshore is here in India. There are windmills from dating back to the 80s in Tamil Nadu to a great extent. It's almost like driving through a cemetery or a history book of windmills. But we are, of course, also pushing for the offshore wind sector that we hope to see coming up strong in a very limited time ahead of us. There was VGF funding announced by the new government, MNRE, VGF Viability Gap Funding for wind areas outside of Gujarat and outside of Tamil Nadu. And last week we attended together with our German colleagues, there was 2 big international delegations, the Germans and the Danes, RE Invest conference up in Gujarat that focused a lot on how India can really reach the very massive and ambitious plans of 500 gigawatt installed RE in 2030, which is basically 5 years from now. So Denmark is a proud partner in that, and we have some business interests in that area as well. Let us bring it down to partnerships and innovation. And basically I will stop maybe 4 minutes before time, Jose, if you allow me, because this is my key takeaway today. Enough talking, let's do it. Let's form partnerships. Let's find the new solutions that are needed. And in this case, I'm happy to say that right now there is a bilateral call. I'm sorry to the rest, but bilateral means India and Denmark unless you can find a nice configuration and have an entity in either Denmark or India, it's not for you. But for those of you who have an entity in Denmark or in India, this could be for you, in particular if you are in this value chain of Power to X. We have a bilateral call of around $5 to $6 million in total. It's between the Innovation Fund Denmark and DST here in India. We are looking for innovative solutions that helps tackle some technical issues from a TRL scale around 5 and up. And the deadline is on November 1st. We will be doing a webinar where we bring all stakeholders on board and try to help find the right partners and tell you about how to write the application so that you make sure that you don't get refused before you get started. This is the way that we try to work with India. This is the way we try to bring green transition forward together, not only in India, not only in Denmark, but globally. Our mantra is, if India doesn't make it, nobody makes it. Hence, that's where we are here. That's what we are prepared for. And I look forward to collaborate. 3 minutes left to the next. Thanks.